No, I never felt like there was any fault because both parents never made it about us. That's good. They were very, very clear. It was their issues. They were even trying to protect us on both sides.
Did you ever feel like that void that your mom left was ever filled?
It was never filled. It can never be filled. There isn't any human that can feel it. That's the truth. I'll try not to cry. Sometimes I get angry. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I just close my heart. I act like I'm reading newspapers because I know when I have reached and I can't take in anymore. Because, like I said, I'm very sensitive emotionally.
You're goody two shoes in school.
I was not a bad girl, but I was a naughty girl.
Hello there. I am delighted today to be speaking to a woman I call friend and sister, but even more than that, a woman who I respect very deeply. Her life story is very inspiring. And in the course of today's conversation, you'll understand why. It's not a day for long introductions because I believe that you'd get to make your decision for yourself and define her post this interview. However, I'm delighted to be speaking today to a phenomenal firebrand, a woman who's consistently and constantly chasing after the heart of God, a woman who has a passion for women and children, and a woman who is passionate about marriage and everything that makes up the family unit. She's a wife, a mother, and the chief servant, convener, head, leader at the Sense a Mother's Prayer, Global Prayer Home. I'm delighted today to be speaking to the latest 40-year-old in town, the one and only Pastor Mrs. Oyetomi Adisa, aka Mrs. A, aka Beji Leggage. You understand my version.
Thank you, Ayo.
For that powerful introduction. It's not powerful enough. Like, but it's heard about you today. So I didn't want a situation whereby we would have a long drawn out introduction. People want to get straight into the meat, and I believe that, you know, in the course of the conversation, they will then begin to define you based on the different experiences and stories. First of all, let me say thank you very much for giving me the privilege and opportunity to help in sharing your story, explaining your story. It's an honor. And then second of all, welcome to the fourth floor. Yes, happy birthday. How about moving to be at the fourth floor? My assist is that, no, I'm 3010. I started to say, you always come on with the cheat code. Which one is 30? I don't feel 40. I don't remember how we used to look at 40-year-olds.
Say you like help people. I say
No, please.
no, it doesn't. Look at this. Is I mean, the glow is not 40 at all. This glow is 20.
2020. Yes, 2020. That's it. She's 3010. I'm 2020. All right. Thank you so much. So let's get straight into it. And I know that this is a no holds barred conversation. I warned you already that I'm going to follow the rules.
Ayo.
Just
Ayo
treating me. Yes. You know, Mrs. A is a very private person. As public as your life is, and the way you share yourself with so many people, so many women, so many ministries, you are very, very private. But I hope that today we can unlock some secret doors and get to know the woman behind the ministry and the many gifts that God has given to you. So first of all, let me ask you, tell me about you growing up.
Wow. Growing up for me, I would say, looking back now, was very intentional by God. Growing up, you know, I'm born, not I was born. They say I was born now.
Born.
Yes, I was born into a family of 8. First 4 girls, last 4 boys.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your position?
Second. But I'm the first of my mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you the first girl or first boy? And then, of course, the first, are you the first girl?
No. First of my mom. First 4.
Okay.
Girls.
Oh, yes.
Last 4 boys. Yeah. And, you know, when I was 9 plus, my parents separated. And for me, I think that's when I started leaving. I'm telling you. Because, you know, you can take the presence of the parents for granted. It's not a big deal. But when my mom left, I woke up. To be honest, I can't remember much of my life before 9 years. Yes. I woke up. I knew that my mom was no longer at home. I knew there was a void. There was a presence that had been taken up. My mom was not lovey-dovey kind of mom, but she is my mom. She was my mom. She's passed now. So, yes. And from that point, you know, that also shook my dad and led him to do his life pressed because they could not reconcile. He tried to reconcile with my mom, but she would not reconcile for reasons best known to them. And he took us to church, so we were introduced to church. So the only person I could talk to was just God, just have conversations. I either sat at my window, the window in my room, or I would take a walk in the evening and just look up in the sky so I could connect with God. And that went on for many years. When I went to secondary school, St. Teresa's College Ibadan, we had the chapel in the school, which was a huge blessing. I would go to the chapel. It was just like a place where God is. You know how Catholic schools can be. There's a cross there on the altar. The chapel is always clean. Doesn't matter how many times you visit in a day, it's always clean. Then the lights, mood lights are on, and they just have very little lights coming in. It's quiet, cool. So I'll sit there and pour my app out to board. If you offend me when I was doing Universal, I'll report you to board. That's nothing that I'll tell board. And that was my foundation. Like I always say, I knew God before I knew him as Lord. If I give my life to Christ. So that's that about family. Then I went to primary school. Is that what you expect from me?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, please go.
Went to primary school. My first primary school is Providence Nigerian Primary School at Father Agigi. But I finished at Dolan International. I had my nursery to primary 4 at Providence, then my primary 5 at Dolan International School, Akute. Then went on to St. Teresa's College, Okeado, Ibadan. And then went on to Ekiti State University, where I graduated from the Faculty of Law.
So you're a lawyer.
Yes.
My lawyer.
Yes. I'm a non-practicing lawyer.
Or did you go to law school?
Yes, I finished from Albany campus in Enugu Law School, and I had about 2 years of practice before I just decided.
So you're barrister Oyetomi Adisa.
Yes, you can say that again.
Excellent. Okay, many people might not know this.
Yes, I
just think you just came out to the inn, spitting and casting out demons. But I mean, very interesting background, and I'm glad that you talk about how that experience of your mom even shaped your childhood.
Yeah.
Now, you have such a fierce passion for women. Would you say that experience had an influence or impacting your ministry today?
Absolutely. 100%. That experience woke me up to the role of a woman. It was like, it's just like when you want to buy a red car, things start seeing red cars everywhere. Yeah. So that's what it needs to be. Because I'm very sensitive emotionally. So one, I was very aware of my needs. I was very aware of how everyone was interacting with me. I became aware of how my siblings reacted because all three of us reacted differently to my mom's absence. And then, I also observed how my dad was trying to carry on because he shook him. And then I began to see every child, every woman through that lens. It colored my lens in a good way. And so, especially when I was in secondary school, I would sit at the gate on visiting days and I would just observe mothers, how they attended to their children. And, I was just long for that. The way children were free with their mothers. They would say, no, I don't want this. I want that. I became very polite, very careful because it was all new to me. There's no matter. You have any friend that's, the parents had separated. And when we're growing up, we're not so exposed. We're children, people that they call them get inside. So, the driver takes you to school, brings you back, you're indoor, you're just with your family. I did not know any other life. So that greatly influenced me. But it became amplified when I gained admission into the university. So when I gained admission into university, since I gave my life to Christ, I gave my life to Christ. So okay, we'll come to that.
That's a difference.
Yeah. So it became amplified when I gained admission to the university. In the sense that when I see women misbehaving, I don't just see someone who wants to be bad. I see somebody that something has happened somewhere. So on campus, when you say, oh, this person is expressing their claim because I attended ask if I was an executive, this person is in there. I'm like, no, don't worry. Let me reach out to them. And after a while, people just come and say to me, please come and talk to the people. And I found out that no matter how wild a girl is, somewhere down the line, somebody mismanaged something. And it often comes from the parents, either the father or the mother. And then it also drew me closer to girls, other ladies like me, in very straight manner. Not called, yes, because I'm not sensitive to them. Like this person, and it was extreme at a point, and I had to work on that. We could be in a room, and I said everybody's talking. One person is left guy. I could be like, oh, why is she not communicating? Let me reach out to this person. So it actually highlighted humanness to me. And let me say this. I remember one time I was just telling God, I was like, God, why did I have to go through that experience? What's the use? Couldn't you have used me, raised me to raise other mothers without going through that experience? And God said to me, the world is a fallen state. There is evil in the world. So if I'm going to send you into the world, you cannot escape the adversity in this world. So what I do is that I put you in a place where the adversity will work for my purpose for your life. So I allowed you to face a challenge that was relevant to the purpose I already ordained for you.
That's a message for somebody. Yeah, that's a very powerful message. Thank you for sharing that. Because this is a very huge part of your life, please permit me to take a little taker. And one of the questions I want to ask you is, did you feel at any point that it was your fault? Or that if you did something, your mom would come back?
No, I never felt like it was my fault. Because both parents never made it about us. That's good. They were very, very clear. It was their issues. They were even trying to protect us on both sides. I never felt like it was my fault. Not at any point, really. There was nothing I could have done. I was even too young to try to help anybody. I think I was in shock for a while because I was like I was in a realm and I was dreaming. It was like you're looking at yourself in another scene and you're trying to comprehend what is happening. How should I react? How should I? I didn't take on their burden and I didn't make myself responsible for what was happening today. I never felt that way at any point.
So my next question is, did you ever feel like that void that your mom left was ever filled?
It was never filled. It can never be filled. There isn't any human that can feel it. That's the truth. I'll try not to cry. So it can't be filled because the bond a mother has with a child is one and only in the world. There is no human being that can replicate it. The only way you can replicate it is if that child has never known another mother. Maybe you received the child at birth or the child was abandoned until you came to the child's life. But if you have ever at any point had an interaction with your mother, no matter how weak or anything, even if she was a bad mother, there will always be longing for the good version of that bad mother. There will always be that void and there's nobody that can feel it.
You know, it's so wonderful because some people respond to adversities like you different ways. It like makes them better. Yeah, makes them that's true. Because you didn't learn how to be a mother, but you're only super mom. I can testify. You have 4 nations,
Yes.
and you are. I mean, I can say that because not only are you a mom to your biological children, by virtue of what you do, you're a mother to so many, and you're also raising mothers. Imagine that. Isn't that amazing?
God, it is wisdom.
Look at that. You're now raising other mothers. Yeah, they are teaching other mothers how to be mothers. Look at
Right, that's great.
all right, so let's talk about that. And that you cannot talk about that without first of all speaking about your salvation story. So you said something that I knew God before I knew him as Lord.
Yes.
So share with us, how did you from 9 years old, your dad said going to church to chart the journey, and then you started going to church as a result of that. But when did you personally decide that you know what, I want you to be my Lord and Savior, I'm going with you?
So when I said I've known God, God, let me say this, God knows when you're yearning for him, even though you don't know it's him. And that means the story of Apostle Paul, they were worshiping the unknown God, and he knew that they were seeking God, they were not seeking idols. But when I left secondary school, it was just a regular day. I'd gone to church, there was a new program, someone had invited me, or they announced it in church, and I came, and I saw this news. There was something about them. They had a joy, they had a presence. And I remember looking at myself, and I said to myself, I want what these people have. It was not about being hype. I'd been around jam lesson, we planned beach party and everything. So it was not about being cool. It was just a glow that was about them that was not materialistic at all. And I can remember when I was standing at House of Prayer, Giwa Okiaro. I said, I want what they have. It was like a prayer that I did not know that I said to God. During the service, there was an altar call. I can't even remember going up, but I remember that I went on my knees. Yes, I did. Well, I went on my knees where I was. I cried, I wailed, and I gave my life to Christ. And from that day, it's just been a beautiful experience.
How old were you then?
That was in 2003, July 2003, July 16th. Some of you do the maths.
So all the same years, like I told you, you were 17.
Yes.
That's the thing. So, no, I mean, you have seen this. 2019. It's so funny that you hide your age for so many years. Now, after 40, anybody knows what now. And I think, how old was I? Before you be like, the back.
I'm grateful to God for my parents, my dad especially. It was not negotiable. You go to church for every program with him. And I attended a Catholic school, So, and my Catholic school was very intense. We go for morning mass every day, which is our morning prayer. We sing hymns, we listen to sermons, we say our prayers. Those who are Catholic will eat the Holy Communion. Then in the evening, we also have prayers. So, I was already in the religious environment where God, before that time, God had been reaching out to me. God has been reaching out to me. I can't forget how in secondary school I couldn't curse. The day that I tried to curse someone because someone had done something that was very painful, I felt violated and I don't give him my legs Christ. I vowed that day that I will never do it again. I told God, I said, I know, Lord, you're angry with me. I know that I violated my consecration. So his hand was heavy, very, very heavy on my life. So it was just a build up till that program I went for at House of Prayer, and then I just gave my life to Christ.
Incredible. Amazing. So were you're a goody two shoes in school?
I was a bad girl.
But
Because
You're just no. So yeah, ideal. No. So I was not a bad girl, wicked, but I was a naughty girl. So what was the naughty? What is the difference? So the difference is bad girl do bad stuff, boyfriend, sleep. That's my definition of bad girl. Club. I never clubs, never like parties, but sneak out of the hostel in the night to go and buy food, not to see man, to go and buy food. Yannick, as okay, I didn't know what that man put in food to go and buy. Then when we are broke, we'll break into people's farms because there were bushes around. So people use the farm, I'll go to break to their farm, man steal corn, roast it in the kitchen, sneak in stove to cook. They lied to my parents. If the textbook is 5,000, I'll say it's 10,000 naira.
you did that idea. Say for me. No way.
So those are like some things that I did, so it's lots of stuff.
Thank God. We are all safe. Nothing bad. Okay, so at least she stole you.
Yeah,
She sold lies.
yes, and I restituted. I had to tell my dad. Like, I'm telling you, I had to tell my dad because it was when I did, I was very bad. What did you tell us? So that time, there were these imported cards. We had the local greeting cards and the imported cards. The imported cards were expensive, and I liked to give the imported cards. I was a big girl in secondary school. I'll buy cards. When is your birthday? I'll just get it out and give it to you. Cards of like 300 naira, 350 at that time. So I wanted to do my shopping. My dad had a depot in Ibadan at that time. And I used to go there and collect money. So he had closed the depot, and there was no way to get money without being questioned. But when I tell my dad I need 2,000 naira, he says, "No, I'm giving you only 1,000 naira. What are you with him? I'll pack my bags. Once I get to school, I'll wait like 3 weeks, 1 month. I'll go to the depot. And then I ask from that man, he will give it to me. I just put it, he'll say, sign here, and I'll go.
And he'll give you that.
And he'll just inform my dad. So when my dad comes, my dad can't tell, the time apart. He will just approve. So this time around, I get about to like such funds. So I waited, and then I came back and said I will space my space fees. Like, I didn't space fees. It was really, but I wanted to shop. So I thought it was going to be easy, but I had to tell the story over and over, lie and lie and lie. That what really, really made me feel bad. And my dad was broke. I didn't know he was broke. So he had to wait some time to gather the money. I felt really bad. So when I gave my life to Christ, I had to write a letter to tell my dad that that's who fees. He didn't lose. He didn't lose.
Pay him back.
No, pay him back as well.
No, your institution did not complete. Which money? You have to deal back. He when God told Zacchaeus, he said that you got the
You
Zacchaeus.
don't know how much money. My dad needs to do restitution. You know, when I came to my father, I didn't give my back. They said, don't worry, when you need it, I will give you. Not as a child, though, as a graduate for the university, I didn't want to spend the money.
Okay, equation balance.
Odiro cancel.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that part of your life. I'd love to see that you're a normal.
Yes. Teenager, normal, in secular songs, that's them, yes, credit of that.
Okay, great. So I know that ministry started for you in university, or you raised it earlier. Can you tell us your foray into how you got into ministry? Maybe even did you even know it was ministry?
I didn't.
So tell us after it.
I had no idea what I was doing was ministry. As soon as I gave my life to Christ, I went for believers class, in RCCG. My dad is a member of RCCG, all the classes. When they teach us, it's like everybody needs to know. All my friends that time, Victor, Tokpe, I invited them to church. You attend church, like no matter how cool you are, because it was like discovering a whole world of wonders, and I could not keep it to myself. It was not a mandate. Mandate. It was a joy. I wanted to just tell everybody and bring everybody on board. So about some months after I gave my life to Christ, actively I was telling them. We had a shop in front of the house that time. When you come, I'll talk to you. And I started operating the gift of prophecy. I did not know how. So I could sit down and I can pick your emotions. I may not have the details. I can tell that something great is coming. I can tell that you're sad. But I didn't have the confidence to walk up to people. So I'll write some paper due today. And it was so accurate. So accurate. And then I didn't want to be spooky also. Because that time ministry was not like this. Ministry is very touch now. So I wanted to still be that cool girl, but I love the Lord so much. So I started doing that while I was looking for my admission. I will carry myself, go to secondary schools around, go and speak to the young girls, all the secondary schools around, Fatba, Agege, Okiarogiwa, I paint them. And I know I'm money for transport because my father will be like, what's wrong with you? Where are you going to? But I have to look for go to make it sound important to my father. So I'll say this NGO I want to start. I say NGO. Oh yeah, go now. So I will shred. Sometimes under the hot, scorching sun, I will get there in sweats. I would speak to them, but I would do it so well that when I'm leaving, the schools will give me something.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, they'll give me a token to say, oh, thank you for coming, because I would speak to the girls. I focused on the girls. So I did that till I gave admission to the uni. And let me say something. And I wanted to go to uni, Lauren. I gained admission to Olabisi Onabanjo University, but I didn't want to attend Olabisi Onabanjo. I wanted to either go to Unilag, UI, or Unilag. My star was in Unilag at that time. She flew from Unilag. And I know that they don't go on strike. So I did everything. In fact, I was there for like a month. I got an apartment at Adewoye Estate, but the admission did not go through. They gave me admission to study one for free history or something. I don't want to do it. So I had to go to University of Ado-Ekiti, which is now Ekiti State University. And that's where God began to prepare me for my history.
Wow. Yeah. So how did God prepare you for me? Did you have any, some people have this epiphany, a dream, a call? Oh, my daughter told me I'm going to use you. Like Eva, God told me I'm going to do this. Yeah. Some people got told. Was that your story?
No, that wasn't. I just got on campus. I got on campus. I went to University of Ado-Ekiti very reluctant. I was angry with everybody on campus. I did not like that because it was not the picture I had in mind. They were not like Unilag girls, Unilag boys. They were not like UI girls, UI boys. They were not even like Unilori. I've been to Unilori. This one, you can see the red soil. The roads were not properly made. I'm like, how it wasn't well developed. Many of them were from Ekiti. So you would turn here, class speaking Ekiti. I'm like, God, after waiting 2 years, this is my portion. I mean, if like with all my prayers and everything. So I was a bit withdrawn, but I knew I wanted to attend church. So I went to church, and then I got to church. I was put in choir. Then we had, because they have this freshers weekend. Yeah. Yes. So they allow you to do presentations, drama and weekend, and then they host you and give you donuts and all the likes. So I joined. So a few days to the freshers weekend, I went to be the coordinator, Pastor Yinka. I was like, he's allowed to do a lot of things. Anybody doing the lot of things? So that was his reaction. Exactly. Ayo, that was his reaction. I was like, really? You're so bold. You want to do the vote of thanks? I said, yes, I'm to do the vote of thanks. So, and my son gave me this Irabuba cord lace very early. I tied my cord lace and everything. I came up, I did it well. And, I have this away with words to some extent. Not to some extent. Give yourself the flowers. You have a way with words. You're very verbose. You're very articulate. You speak very well. Speaking of it, and I think what's that MC before? I've seen that.
Yes.
Good. So, I participated in some speaking competition debates in secondary school. So I just came up, did beats, and the applause was loud. So immediately I was highlighted in RCF, and that's how they pulled me into the workforce. And from my 200 level, I became an executive till I graduated in 500 level. And, being an executive, I took it very seriously. Prayed for my members, taught them beyond what was expected. My room was like, what's it called now? It was a welfare stand. If you are not there to eat, you are there for counseling. If you're not there for counseling, you're there for prayers. And I was never the sister's coordinator. And I will feed people. And when I finish giving them my food stuff, even because we cook for ourselves, share my kerosene with them, I'll go to my friend's room, irritate, so you just die, all of them, go and pack their stuff so that, I don't die of starvation. So I met people who trained me in ministry. Pastor Dipo Apanji trained me. He had a school of momentum. It was voluntary. You come every Saturday. He would teach us for like 2 to 3 hours. He would teach us on scriptures. Pastor Sholafa was leaders if I went to uni. But Pastor Dipo did a lot of work. And then he would push us. So you're a worker, they can come to a church and they will just come up and say, you're taking the workers' seats. And Pastor Dipo is very, very expressive. If you come and take workers and say, Jesus died on the cross, let us live in holiness, we'll be like, what's that? In verse of everyone, be like, what's that? You're taking it again next, you go and be here properly. So you don't have any rema to share with us. Give us word. Give us word. So as a worker, you don't just come to church anyhow because they can always come and lead prayers. And the power of God must fall and you can't fake it.
Men salute Pastor Dikwa.
Wow. You can't fake it.
So you were being trained for ministry without you knowing that
I had no idea.
And that's usually the story.
I had no idea. But I was trained in the word. I was trained to lead. You can't say you're a leader, you don't visit your members. You can't say you're a leader, you don't, like your members in the department will come to you, tell you about something. It's either you picked it before, or when they came, you have a word for them. You can't just say, go and meet pastor, go and meet the president. No, you are the HOD. What have you done about it? Even when it is financial, then I was also trained to give. Like people gave selflessly. People will come to school and in 2 weeks, their food stuff will be finished because they're doing this one, and they won't lack. God will provide.
Yeah, I've had the incredible story you told me about the fellowship in Lekki State University. Yes. It's like its own revival. Bro.
Honestly,
I remember just the things that you guys did. Yes, as young people. I mean, it was so surprising that many of you are where you are today. Yeah, that's awesome. So talking about ministry teachers, not mentors now, teachers. Yeah, were your ministry teachers. And when people that taught you, because you're very disciplined, you have very strong disciplines when it comes to ministry and the etiquette of ministry. Who taught you that? Who did we get taught?
So I drew a lot. I'm still going to go back to being Investor by Dekiti. I drew a lot from attending RCF as a whole.
Because so now RCF is the
Redeemed Christian Fellowship. That's the church arm of the Redeemed Christian. That's the fellowship campus arm of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. So you find that only on campus. It's called techniques or university. I drew a lot just by attending the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Because the moment you become an executive, we call it ESCO, you can't wear trousers. You can't do certain things. You can't have a boyfriend. You can't be found in the wrong company.
They had a code of conduct.
Yes, they had a code of conduct. There's a way you carry yourself. All of us were like mini mummies. There's a way you carry yourself. You must be grounded in the word. You can't open your mouth and just be, when someone is speaking and you're saying the Greek origin, the Hebrew origin, you just open your mouth and say the Oxford origin. No, I had to go and buy a Bible concordance. So we didn't have Dubu then. Yeah, so I had the big Bible concordance. I had my Bible. I used only the King James version because that time it was an abomination for me to use any other Bible version. So as RCF, the sisters coordinators, I worked with Pastor Tope Nelson. Oh, Pastor Tope, I loved her from afar before she even became sisters coordinator. There was an aura about her where she had this peace. She had authority without shouting. She had authority without imposing herself on people, and she was selfless. We'll be coming from school. Our house is very close to the fellowship. Many of us will stop and say, "Because we're hungry." Whatever she's cooking, she will share with all of us. Water, foodstuff, we'll eat. If she comes and she doesn't have anything, she'll say, "I don't have anything. No, it's only Gary and water. Do you want?" We'll take it. So I had that. Then for flashing now, so where I think she's in the UK. Yeah, she's not as fast as I'm still in touch with her. Then Sunday Morgan. Sunday Morgan trained me when it comes to platforms, holding the mic, speaking on air. He saw me at that root of things and just gave me attention. He was the first person that gave me my speaking engagements on campus. He was so anchor and event, and he took me on. In fact, Ayo, Daddy, I didn't want to go. He dragged me and said, "You must go." So he contributed. Pastor Deepo as well contributed, and my parents. I think basic home training really, really helped me as well. Yeah.
Wait, sorry, I need to just touch on this basic because it's a question I wanted to ask now. The confidence you exuded as a child must have come first from him. So we talk about the importance of raising your children. You have talked about the of raising your children to be confident.
Yeah.
Would you say that came from home, or was it divine? Why were you such a confident child and still a confident adult?
So to be honest, looking back now, I did a lot of audacious things.
Yes.
But I did not feel confident doing that. In fact, I had to deliberately work on my confidence. My dad is very audacious, naturally audacious, but he did not pass that to us. Although he will speak to us audaciously, like he will say things like, "You're a princess, you don't put things on your head." So if he comes to the house and he sees you carrying something, maybe his head and beat it, he'll be like, "Put it down, you're a princess, you don't put things on your head." If someone was speaking to me, a rich man, and my father would say, "No, you're a princess, you don't take that."
So that was grooming. You just didn't know.
Yeah.
He was grooming you to be confident, have an identity of who you are.
So yeah, he groomed me to be confident, but I think it was not holistic because I was still a very terrified girl. I think it was only those that did that word. It would give me ideas that would get me so excited that would become, I can't hold it in. Or I would just say, let me try. Let me just try. So over the years, I've had to build, the Holy Spirit has helped me to build that confidence, and I've drawn from the confidence of others, including my father's confidence. When I say my dad is audacious, I mean my dad is audacious. Yes, very audacious.
So, okay, fantastic. Now let's go into ministry. I've enjoyed learning about it. It's like I just had the gist in with you. But let's talk about Saint Mother's Global Prayer Hall, which used to be Warrior Moms at Global Prayer Hall. Tell us, how did that start? I will never forget how that started. In terms of, sorry, that's to get what I mean. There was a whole campaign, it was a movement. Yes. What started it? What stoked that fire? You done other ministries, but it was time to now launch into the big one that God was calling you to. And this is still part of your story, but how did that start?
So funny thing is, I'd say that. So I'm really looking, because not concerned, the story is more. So I'm looking at how to make it make sense without making it sound too long. Saint Mothers was my complete yes to God when it comes to ministry. And that's why a lot of people, when you think about me, they can only connect me when it comes to ministry to Saint Mothers. Because past then, I've been doing Novel Woman Foundation. You know, it came to University of Adekiti.
And I went to Ondo Amikiti.
Yes, yes, we went to Futa. We're coming a long way. And the vision for the Novel Woman Foundation is to go around secondary schools and universities. But while I was doing that, remember I said at the beginning that for me it was just love for God.
Yes.
It was just excitement that this thing that I know, other people should know it as well. That was it for me. So it wasn't like a mandate, like if you're going to do this thing. Because for me, I wanted to be, growing up, my dream has always been to either the Oprah Winfrey, Fumi Yonda, Franco Lise, and Pastor Bibo Odukoya. Now, I wanted to be Pastor Bibo Odukoya, but I didn't want to preach. I just loved what I watched her on TV. She's like, I love everything about her. So she's talking about God. I never saw myself as a preacher. So even on campus, I didn't like, even though I was in church, when people call me mama, somebody would go on myself, telling mama, yeah, you okay? I remember I went to Futa one year. They invited me for a program. And everybody would say, mama, my mother, the first thing I did when I took my mom was say, I am not was that rather invited? I'm not your mother in the Lord. Because I would just pray like, whoa. Look at me now.
Look at you now.
God had a great terms of you.
I'm very, So for me, it was just something I would do as a member of the church. And then God will establish me in the media. I will be a TV sensation, have talk shows, dress up, have shows on the largest TV network like Fumi Yonda or Wifi and all of that. And also try to carry that dream. However, when I had my first babies in 2014, God told me to take a break from my 9 to 5, to stop. Because then, I was having more speaking engagements and teaching engagements to go minister. And, there was a lot of conflict, and I also had the babies. But, and I tried to run, I kept running with that template until 2019, when Bodam had this event, this video that she invited us for, and then Prophetess Omoshedi was there. Yes, of the Grace Omoshedi. And she was mentioning to everyone when she got home, she said, that book God gave you, it's time for you, where you write prayer points for your children, it's time for you to make it into, no, she said, that journal where you write prayer points for your children, it's time for you to make it into a book. Wow. And she did say so many things about my life. And I remember I was just crying and crying and crying. So I got back and I got the book out, all the prayer points I'd been writing. I put them together. I told my husband, like, we had to work on this. Got together with Budam, Dola, my husband, myself, and we started putting it together as a book. And then my husband was like, you have to launch this book the proper way. Let's have a book shower. But COVID had happened in 2020. Yeah. So we started to do something online. So we had this movement, the old saying, join the Warrior Mom's Prayer, or it was the Warrior Mom's Prayer, or was it the Warrior Mom's Prayer? Or no, it was just a book.
I just remember, I remember the image of the queen, the website.
Yes.
The queen on her head.
Yeah. It was powerful. Yes. So they joined, we put them in a Telegram group, and within 3 days, we're over 600. Wow. There's over 600. And I started leading them to pray for their children. We prayed for 3 days. After 3 days, I left them for like a week. And after 1 week, I was like, we have to close this book. That I announced the book, we launched it, and people started buying. And then I said, leave. Everybody was like, no, we can't leave. Give us the link for our friends to join. From 600, we're going to 800, we're reaching 1,000. This was less than a month. Okay, I said, okay, they said they still have some things they need to learn. So I did a 7-day teaching. Every day I was addressing fear, addressing this, addressing that. So after that, I left them for a while again because there were interactions and all of that. Okay, come and leave. Everybody said we were not meant to eat. So I went back to my husband. I was like, this thing, I don't like how people are asking that. They want to push me to sing. Those were my exact words. That God did not tell me to go and start a platform for mothers. It's just this book. He told me, that's what the prophet said. That go and write a book. It's just the red book. That I want to close the group and go back, because Novel Woman had WhatsApp groups. We had about maybe 3 or 4 WhatsApp, and go back to Novel Woman. So my husband was like, sometimes when God is leading you to do, when God wants to do something, he won't come and say, go and do it.
Yes.
It will just put you in the place and show you how to meet a need. So we started praying, and I stopped responding to them. People were sending private chats, and they were adding more people to the group. Then my husband told me, he said, do you know how the Holy Ghost service started? He said that you had prayed 1 year that God should vest every member of the Redeemed Percentage of debt, and God told him to bring them together in March, and many miracles happened.
You know what year he started it? Okay, 1986.
Wow.
For real?
Holy Ghost service started the year we were born.
Wow.
It's such a prophecy. It's 40 years this year.
Wow. So it's like everybody lets and they continue. But that after like 2 months or so, some leaders in church came back and said, that program you have, we need to have more of it. That it can't just be a one-time thing. And he went to God and God said, carry on. So he asked me, said, have you asked God if you should close this group? You said he has not spoken to you. Have you asked God if you should close this group? So I went to God and prayed. God did not say yes or no, but what did he do? He expounded the vision. It was like saying, God, should I put jollof rice? And he's not saying, so you now make basmati rices, then jollof rice, you don't serve it here and serve it here. Don't ask me that question. We're past that place. And that's how, the Warrior Moms came to be. And then that was 2020. 2021, everybody was like, we have to have our program. We must meet and everything. So I was like, yes, since I was gingered. So we planned our first convention, Blossom.
Yeah.
And the plan was to host over 200 women. That was the money. That was what I had in my account. I could cater for women because it was free accommodation and free feeding for 3 days. And so I think after some weeks, registration had entered. No, it was supposed to stop at 100 and something. Registration had entered 280 something, and I closed it. And people started complaining. And I told my husband that this is what I can afford. I'm not going to sleep past myself. My faith is not the very faith. My faith, as I've seen the provision, as at that time, my husband was on my neck. He said, we'll make that's my husband. Me, I am scared of that. But my husband, once he dreams it, he will go. He will just start doing whatever he can do with what is available. So, and I was insisting that no, I can't do it that way. And I remember one day we were going to Mom Jill's house to see her. We were going to drop the letter for the program at Mom Jill's house. As we're walking out, we met Mommy Ayo coming. She was like, I saw your flyer. How is preparation for the program? So I said it's going well. My husband now reported and said, Mommy, she has closed registration because of funds and everything. I said, yes. So I was trying to reason with Mommy that, yes, so his Mommy that this is what we can cater for. We don't want people to come and be stranded, no accommodation, no food for 3 days. After we are promised, the mom was on like, go and open the registration, that God will provide, that these women have a reason why they want to come. She now said, don't worry, I'll support you with 2 bags of rice. Wow. That was all I needed to hear. So I opened registration. Guess what? She supported us with 2 bags of rice and gave us money. Someone gave us 1,000 loaves of bread. We had abundance. Yes, we had abundance. And for that program, we had over 800 women in attendance. 600 were accommodated. As it was.
This is what the flag for both. There's some places you have to pause and you're like, There's a lesson there.
Yes.
If God gives you the vision,
Yes.
provision is guaranteed.
I'm telling you.
I'm never seen him fail.
Yes.
It's just that sometimes your finger is
I'm telling you.
say that God. When they're looking back, it's like, you're like, oh, do this. At that point, God, amazing. Thank you for your obedience.
Yes.
How it's a remarkable story. So, didn't know that was just a book? And it was actually the movie.
It was just
a boy. Look at God.
It was just a book. It was just my first book. And I was enjoying it until people insisted. Like I remember Eniola, Ola, Bisi, Daffy, I can remember people that held me by the jaw last. They were like, no, Ola Bisi would tell me, Mama, send me the link. Let them join first. Even if we'll close it, let them join first.
So how did you transition from warrior moms to Saint Mothers Global Prayer?
So one doesn't entry. Yeah. So we had to register. And Ceci was like, no, the name is inciting, it sounds violent. We appeal. I'm telling you, warrior moms, he said, if tomorrow you decide to carry placards and you say you are an organization in Nigeria, you have a voice. So we wrote a letter of appeal to Abuja, did everything. We were like, no, yeah, the name has to go that we can use for, but we can't even trademark it. Anything warrior, they gave us a list of words we couldn't use. So I went back to God and God said, sent mothers, women who are sent by God. And that's taken from John chapter again. The Bible says there was a man sent by God, referring to John, and he was sent on behalf of Jesus. He was sent for the sake of Jesus. So we are sent ahead for a generation. We are not here for ourselves. We are women who are on assignment. Yes, we carry motherhood on our head by the grace of God for the sake of a generation that is coming.
So what's your size now? What's the impact Saint Mothers Global Prayer Hub has had in the time of its existence?
So we are currently in more than 12 nations of the world by God's grace. We are over 30,000 members. Yes, we have so many WhatsApp with campus. We have different groups. We have single mothers. We have the married. We have the single. We have mothers with we call them super moms. These are mothers who have children with special needs. And then we have the supernatural fruitfulness circle where we pray, we mentor for the fruit of the womb, and we have had amazing testimonies. In fact, on my week here today, I saw one of our members who waited 6 years and God blessed her with triplets. Yes. Jesus. How God bless her. I've seen head jaw dropping testimonies with my ears.
And your assignment is
It's just to pray.
yeah,
Sometimes when God says, speak a word, you're speaking it in faith. Like there's a woman here under the sound of my voice. God said that by this time next year, you will carry your twins. But why they come with testimony, you're still sure.
So there's nothing. When you see a prophet who's spoken, and then he comes to pass and says,
Wow.
was it Peter or Paul they praying for that when the prayer had come and he knocked us?
I still pray for Peter was not ready. I've already girl came in spirit.
So sometimes even when God had given the word in prayer, with outside still shocking.
Yeah.
Let's go back. So looking back, right, what moment was season? Based on your years in ministry, would you say clearly confirmed that ministry was not just a calling, but an assignment that you could not walk away from?
So that was in 2020. That was with that prophetic encounter with, see, I was sold out to God. Some people who know me will be like, how can she say that it happened in 2020? Because I've always been dogged for Jesus, like all out for Jesus, completely all out. But in my mind, I still wanted to do other things. I had the cake business. Yes. Those who know me are coming, I had the exotic cakes. That was the name of my cake. Later, when I wanted to register it, I had those cakes. Lovely cakes. I still bake it today, but for my family. Okay. I had a cake business. I had a radio show when I was on campus on Progress FM. I co-anchored some shows on EKTV. I was a compere. That time it was not like a professional. So, people would just give me stuff. I anchored Afasui's largest event in my school at that time. Yeah, so I wanted to do other things. If God had not given me that encounter in 2019, looking back, what would have happened? The devil does not mind. I'll continue with my passion for God, but there will just be room for other things, and eventually I'll push ministry to the back. So now I do ministry. Other things are just by the side. But initially, it was just, and that was for me. That 2019 was God saying, no, I need you to give this proper attention.
All right, so like you said, you've known God for many years.
Yeah.
But you know that there's some things that only ministry can teach you. What you did not learn. Because I'll ask you about what you know, what your teachers, what you learn from conferences, pulpit, or teachers or sermons. It can only come from obedience, sacrifice, and experience. And you share with us some of those things.
And I learned from ministry. Too many. One, I will start with what I said earlier, is that God always provides. God always provides. When He tells you to step out, it was in 2026, it was in 2023. Is it 2023 or 2024? When inflation was just starting, that they're warming up. But with all these, it's just getting expensive. And our program is free accommodation, free feeding for all. Although now it's not free accommodation for all, free CD for children. And I told my admins, and we're like, I think we should do online because of the numbers we have, over 3,000 people in attendance. How would we cope? And I remember that I was so overwhelmed by the financial need. So our conference is well over millions. And I remember I went to my prayer place in my living room, carried my prayer blankets, prayed on the floor, put my Bible, my journal, my phone, and I said, I don't know how to pray. But I'm in your presence, I just laid down. You know, when you feel your heart is too heavy and you can't even open your mouth to pray. So I just laid down, played some worship songs, and I slept up. And I had a dream. In that dream, I was in a dilapidated area. Everything was bad, terrible. Buildings were bad, and it was in black and white. So I was walking around, and then I got to this place. There was the only part that was colored, and there was a big refrigerator. This what did they call them? Chiller, the Mbopala one. Yeah, very big. So I went there and told the owner that I was hungry and I needed to buy conkeys. I was gonna buy one of the local brands that we have here, the small sachet they sell for 200 naira. Now that time it was 100 naira. And the woman said, "Is that what you want to buy?" I said yes. And then she opened the refrigerator and started bringing out jumbo size of cornflakes, different cereals, and were all imported, not local brands. She was giving them to me big sizes and said, "Take it to be enough for you." So when I woke up from that dream, I can still remember. I told my admins, I said, "We are having this program and we're giving everybody free accommodation and free food." And that's what God did it. So God did it. Some of the people that gave millions to that conference, I don't know them till today. I can't say, "Oh, this is the person," and God did it. So that's one thing I've learned about God, that when you step out in faith, He will always back you up. That's number one. Number two is that God is committed to taking you out of your comfort zone. When you think, "Oh, this is a vision, we are doing well here," He will stretch the vision again. He's committed to taking you out of the comfort zone. Number three is God will teach you not to depend on men. Oh, I have cried. I have shed hot tears when you are giving your all, when you're sincere, open-minded, and people, to me, I don't know, they will have their vision deliberately misinterpret. Because one of the things I say to my leaders is, you can always have conversations with me. The only thing I do not like is disrespect. But I'm not the leader that wants yes. You can always come to me and you can correct me on absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. I say it over and over. If you can't say it to my face, send a voice note, send a text message. So there was a year I went through a shaking. Like, it made me question my calling. And God just told me that this is me showing you that you can't make any man your anchor. And that also showed me that God will not always deliver you from all your struggles. Yeah, that some struggles He will let you go through because it will make you better. Yep. Yes, you said, but when you go through the waters, I'll be with you. Yes. When you go through the fire, he didn't say when you go, I will be. He didn't say, or if. He didn't say in or yeah. He didn't say I will deliver you from the fire because I have your consuming fire. He said, no, I will be with you. You will feel the heat, but no, I will be there. It's all about but you enter in. So that season, I couldn't vindicate myself. I remember calling Pastor Ayo and I said, "This is what I'm going through." And he said, "Oh, betrayal." It sounded very casual, like, like a veteran, like, no big deal. Like, you have to. He said, Jesus was betrayed. What do you want Jesus to do? He said, even God was betrayed. Devil betrayed him. What do you want God to do? So those are some of the things that have come to me. Yeah.
Powerful lessons. And like you said, there's some things that cannot be taught. They must be caught. Or they have heard that before. You catch it through revelation, through experience, through the things that you've been through. Now, when I hear the story of St. Mother's Global Prayer Hub, we think, "Oh, wow, this is a very successful ministry." But I know that success in ministry is not what we see. Yeah, in terms of the numbers, the statistics, we'll have a full hall. How has being in ministry defined success in ministry to you, especially at 40?
Especially at 40. So you see, success means different things to you at different years. There was a time success was just getting married. Now there's no enough to be married. You have to have a good home, a good marriage. So for me now at 40, success to me is doing what God has called you to do and doing it well. You can do what He has called you to do and not do it well. Yeah. But doing it and doing it well. When I look at Saint Mothers, it is looking at the blueprint He gave you. Because for every vision, there's a blueprint. God told us, raise mothers who are on fire for God, for the children, who raise fervent, burning prayer altars for the children. He gave me a desire. He told me it would be a closely knitted community. He said, as long as you are united, there's nothing you will not achieve. To be a closely knitted community. And God said, from the Saint Mother's Global Prayer Hub, many great women will rise. Governors, wives of presidents, what sex so. And over the years, I have seen this happen. I've seen mothers who were nonchalant about their children. There's a voice note on my phone that sometimes I go to listen to. This is mind-blowing. The lady is in the UK. She's a Kenyan. She's in the US. She's a Kenyan. Her son gained admission into the university. And after a year or so, the son came back and said he wasn't going back again. And he wasn't going back to school. And she was upset. And the boy stopped going to church, stopped being Sabbath, completely with you. And she said she joined my session one day, and I said that you never say that I'm tired. No child can kill me. Or anything you want to do with your life. I said that's a demonic utterance. That's where the devil wants to get you. That no matter what your child does, you can always draw strength from God to contend for the destiny of that child. Don't ever allow the devil put you there. Die if you have to die. When I say die, let this version of you die and let there be a rebirth. And she said that night, something woke up on her and I said, am I going to give up on this boy child just because he's 19 years old? And she said she went into prayers. And she said a month after, God told her to just start reaching out in blood to the boy. And guess what? Guess what? The boy came home because his roommates and other guys in the school, in the accommodation, were doing what they call hostel, were into drugs and was heavily tempted. In fact, he said he had started smoking and partying. He couldn't deal with the weight of the temptation. So he packed his bags and came home. But he didn't communicate well with the mom. The mom was frustrated, like, I gain admission and just abandon it and be at home and you're doing nothing and you're just in your room. So, the devil was also attacking his mind. And it was then she discovered and said, okay, you go to school from home, for working out from home, and then took him back to church. But she said that she would have lost her son if she had not gone to the place of prayer. That's one of the testimonies that I look at, and I'm grateful to God. Then talk about sisters. I know people were practical strangers who connected on that platform, and today they are so close that if I'm trying to reach one person, I only have to call this person. Some of them are even in different nations, and they are closely knitted to this. Those are the things I look at and say, this is a template God gave us, and this is the template we'll continue to run. Yes.
Awesome. 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 Thank you so much for sharing that. Incredible. And that is truly the real definition of success there. Thank you so much. This will be I'll ask you, because when you talk about this kind of ministry that God has entrusted in your care, I know that it's not possible without an intimate relationship with God. And you already alluded to it when you're speaking about your prayer blanket or assisting before God. A lot of people want to wonder, what does it take spiritually to build intimacy with God in such a way that He can entrust destinies of thousands of women into your care and that you have the word for them? Not tired, that you have capacity. It has to be God.
What does it take? It takes God, to be honest. Jesus said, no man can come to the Father except the Father draws him. There's that invitation. But the response to that invitation is not just a yes. The Bible says many are called, but few are chosen. Few are chosen because not everyone that is called answers, and not everyone answers right. What it takes is sincerity. Intimacy is taking everything away and coming to God, desiring all of God, and without holding back any part of yourself. So many times we desire all of God, but we're still holding back parts of ourselves. There's a way you want to do your finances. There's a way you want to do your marriage. There's a way you want to live your life. You're having a picture of this is how I want to appear based on my job, based on I want to compete this way. I don't want anybody to think I'm not cool. I don't want to, you have ideas of how you should be, but you want all of God. And it doesn't work that way in God. When it comes to intimacy, husband and wife, somebody cannot come wearing really coats and the other person is competing on dress. There can't be intimacy. So it takes sincerity. When God sees sincerity, that's the base of worship. When your hunger for God is sincere, God will fill you to the overflow. So I come to God. I cannot give what I have not received. It's not just by leading prayers. People want to pray relevant prayers. You can't just lead them every day and just interpret scriptures that does not connect to their real lives. So if I've not applied those scriptures, I don't know what it means to take my pain to God, my fears, my doubts, my frustration with my children, because my children are not angels, or to even have allowed God to help me deal with my challenges as a human being. I haven't know how to lead women to pray for their marriage. There are days that you will feel like biting your husband. But this is how we act, and this is the kind of prayer you must pray. So it's the sincerity that is at the base of it. Then after sincerity, I would say, is discipline. Because some people are sincere, but they don't have that structure for discipline. True. They don't have, and discipline is a template. This is when I pray. This is where I pray. This is when I pray. You have your prayer time in the morning, 4 a.m. to 4:30. In the afternoon, 1 p.m. to 1:30. In the evening, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then when you know that there is a shift in your life, like, okay, end of the year, coming to a new year or coming to a new age, this is how I approach God, or God gives you a template as well. Many people fail to follow the structure. They either fail to follow the structure, or they do only the structure and they don't allow the relationship. So when they pray in the morning, that's the end. When they pray in the ask, that's the end. When they are fasting, you can tell they're pious, they're holy. The moment they're not fasting, they can see anything, they can drink, they can club, they can do whatever they want to do, because this time is for me, this time is for God. It has to be a blend of both. You have the relationship and you have the structure. So, but at the base of it is that sincerity. You can't hold back from God. Absolutely, you can't hold back.
He sees everything.
It sees everything. So there's no point holding back.
How do you guard your intimacy? I say this because we're in a world where everything has to be on social media. Everything has to be, you have to be seen to be doing. You don't just do. So you have to watch your prayer and the set. So because you want to show people that this is how I'm take my power source. But this maybe is there anything wrong with that?
So I would say that yes and no. There's something wrong and there's something not wrong with it. There's something wrong with it when you know that your heart is not right. So when you know that your heart is not right, something is wrong with you. But when you know that, okay, you have spoken to the God, you just had this idea that let me record myself now. Even when God tells you to record yourself, it can't be all the time that you have to record your prayers. Because there are days that you want to pray and prayer is not, it's not put
Together. It's not
eloquent.
eloquent.
It's just and there and there. So it depends on your heart posture. But how do you guard your intimacy? I'd say that that comes to your highest desire. Your highest desire. Where a man's heart is, where man's treasure is, his heart will be. If your highest desire is God, you're going to give him all of you. Give him all of yourself. And even when you're sitting in rooms, you're constantly having conversations with him. You're totally dependent on him. You're dating on the road, you say, Lord, today I'm going to work, I'm going to my children's school, I'm going here, I'm going there. But when your heart desire is, I want to show people that I am a pastor, I want to show people that I am this, you're not going to seek God. You'll probably go online for the best speaker, the popular pastors, how do they do it? What's their templates? Let me take that template and also apply it. So it comes to your highest desire. And when your highest desire is God, you're going to guard it jealously. Because you know the influence others have on you. You're going to guard it jealously. There are times that now I know how to handle it better because I'm a pastor's wife. But before, there are times that maybe during the worship, I pick the presence of God and I feel like there's something burning in my heart and worship is about to end. I will leave, go to the toilet in the bottom of the corner and face the one and me and my God will finish before you perfectly with trust. I must finish this thing with that God. And it's not about getting the word. It's just that thing, that intimacy.
Yes, you're not, and that's a temptation in ministry where you pray so that you can minister. Whereby, unlike where you're praying because it's building relationship.
Yes.
And it's in the course of building relationship that then God releases to you.
Now,
It's very difficult.
everyone will face that temptation you mentioned where you pray to me. This is that because sometimes there are gaps in your relationship with God. There are times when you are not on this temple, you are here. And during that period when there's a demand for you to minister, you that I can't go without recharging. Let me go. So when you go and recharge and you receive the fire, you now want to wait until there's that external motivation before you go and recharge. But it's a phase you must outgrow. If not, you won't. You will stunt. You'll be stunted in ministry, in your impact. Because how do you get out of that phase? How do you get out of that phase? How do you get out of
Where you're burnt out. I mean, you're not even the out of being burnt out. You just cannot. In relationship, you have the up and down seasons. And like you said, if you're not careful, you can remain there for a very long time.
I mean, how to come out of that? How do you come out of that? Is God that does that work. What it does is that when he sees that you are caught up in an error, you miss the mark. It's not intentional. You are caught up in an error. It will begin to show you the right template. So you can come across people who will just meet and say, I sought the Lord for 2 months. I take time away from ministry. I just want to be with my God. And then that will just come and say, when was that last time I spent that time with God? So it's like a testy gear who does not yet know that it is testy, and then God will bring the saints of water so that you can come seeking that water. And then you just realize, oh, this has come an idol, check. I'm taking them out. I must go back to the foundation.
And you must have the courage to get it.
Yeah, very important.
Okay, so like we're gradually coming to the end. It's such a deep conversation. I could promise with you for like 5 hours or 4 hours, one for every year we're born. But I know that time is a restriction. So many questions. When you answer one question, I have like 10 question follow-ups. But let me ask you, because I know that you have a burden for this generation, especially as you come into a new decade. Why do you think, maybe share with us that burden? Because your 30s was devoted to mothers, raising, and just what you described, an altar, raising women, raising children that have God's own heart. What is it a burden that God has given you for this new decade? And why do you say, especially for the generation as escape now?
So the burden, the vision and the calling for the St. Mother's Global Prayer is still there. But I would say that now, like never before, God has impressed on my heart and highlighted in my heart to raise leaders, to raise strong leaders, men and women. Yes, men and women. And, there's a lot of covering for the women and very little devotion for men. And we're very little covering for men. And it's beginning to tell, beginning to show. So for women, for leaders on campus, campus leaders, my life on campus, I can do a documentary on my life on campus and it will run into hours. Because God allowed me to have robust, talk about heresy that became a movement. Heresy where people were getting married in the spirit and we're living together and we're having sexual intercourse. Talk about abuse of office. Talk about misplaced priority. Stabbing lectures so that you can do ministry. And these things are not right.
So stabbing lectures, not going to lectures.
Yes, not because lectures. Yeah, and not human being. not going for classes so that you can do ministry. Because there's a time for everything there. And somebody is paying for you to be in that environment and you're accountable to them. And these things were done in the sincerity of heart. And I know people today is more than 20 years they graduated from university who are still living with the repercussion, negative consequences of those decisions they made on campus. Heavy consequences. So leaders on campus and then leaders, mothers, women, leading women, and there are programs that will roll out, in the course of the year and in a few weeks from now that will cater for this as well. And also for the single ladies, because the waiting season, you know what the waiting season can be like, can be very, very tough.
So this platform for leaders, it will be separate from Send Mothers Global, like for both men and
Yeah, I think that is possible. Yes. So I have mentorship with Oyetomi Adisa on Instagram. We already have a platform for single ladies. Yes. Yeah. So it's just to give them programs. So it's just be a thing of handouts, pray, have Zoom sessions, but now we want to do proper programs for them because I gotten crazy DMs, crazy DMs.
So I do all these things. How do you manage and still be a wife and a mother?
So in response to how do I cope emotionally, sometimes it's draining. Sometimes I get angry, sometimes I cry, sometimes I just close my heart. I act like I'm reading newspapers because I know when I have reached and I can't take in anymore. Because, like I said, I'm very sensitive emotionally. Very sensitive emotionally. And sometimes I feel like I'm just taking everybody on. Like, you call me now, you call me tomorrow, you come and see me, send me your account detail. Let's go on a prayer. Let's go fasting. And I'm like, no. Let's take a break. So how do I manage all of this? I would say structure and systems. And it's God inspired. So I can't say copy and paste this. Yes, is to know this is when I do this. This is the day I rest. This is the day I don't.
You actually rest?
I do.
Oh, do you have a day to rest?
A day, a whole day.
I know there are people who are going to write in the comment and say it's true. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Because and the thing about you, I must say this, is that when you speak to somebody, at least when you've spoken to me or my husband, you make it seem as if you're the only person I'm the only person you're dealing with at that point in time. So you're, like you said, you're calling me fast, you're praying. I'm like, how many people are you doing this for? You still have to be a friend. You still have to be a wife. You still have to be a mother. You still have to be a daughter. You still serve in your church. The Edison Church was you run it. You are even as I mentioned, I'm really tired. You pastor a church with your husband. You are part of the national structure of the women's fellowship in the within church. Yeah.
So I find it a little rest. I do. So now rest does not mean I don't get to do anything at all. But I'm not active. I don't have. It's not on my to-do list to do much, and it's usually on my Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, I try to.
Now, don't tell anybody now.
So now I'm sending you a message on Wednesday. She is new. So I'll change the day. So on that day, I don't cook. I don't take calls. If you send a message and it's urgent, I have admins who are well capable. We have a group of counselors who are trained. And who would attend to you.
How to raise your children? You've talked about being intentional about your children and your husband. A lot of the sometimes collateral damage from ministry is your family suffer. And we've seen a number of children of ministers who along the line even detest anything that has to do with church because of the way their parents were so occupied. How do you manage that balance to ensure that your husband doesn't feel neglected, your children don't feel neglected, and then of course the call of God upon your life is not neglected?
So what I do, so before now, when my dad gave his life to Christ, he went all out. He went all out, every program, every day, and I missed my dad. And there was this thing in my head like, no. How can church be like this? So, I made up my mind that church will not take me away from my family. Ministry will not take me away from my family. So that consciousness is there. And one of the things I do is I try to balance. And when I say balance it, I'm not saying in equal proportions. I try to balance ministry and church. So you won't find me leaving my house every weekend once. I won't do it. Because Monday to Friday, they're out of their house. So 2 weekends are the most. Those 2 weekends are the most. And sometimes we take them along with us. So when we're coming back and stop at an eatery, and we let them know that they are a part of what we do. So when I'm at my events or programs that I host, or maybe at a place I go to minister, I give them utmost attention. If I see them around trying to ask a question, they need something. Because the bitterness comes from children really don't have a problem with what you do if you allow them to be a part of it. So the bitterness comes when you treat them like, don't disturb, we are praying. Adults are here. Excuse me, why are you in this office? No, I don't do that to my children. And I don't allow anyone do that to my children. If we're in the green room, they can come into the green room. The only thing is to not disturb what we're doing. If I'm sitting on the altar and I meet me, my child needs me, I'm a mom first. I'm going to answer my child. So they know that they're a parent. And when I'm at home, I'm at home. When they come and they say, especially now that they're more expressive, Mommy, let's have game nights, let's have family nights. Mom, I want to go on the walk, The other day, my son said, no, I want to go on the walk with you. I was tired, but I got dressed and said, you know what? This one had told me and said, I'm about to die, pray for me, won't you pray? So I went on the walk with you. That's something like that.
Thank you. We are rewriting
Yes.
It's true because in the past this wasn't the case. When you just aspire, where you'd be like, well, the adults are praying, this is an adult zone, is what would have been the norm. So I'm really glad, and I hope more women and men would learn from this, that we raise children who actually love God. If I come to legacy, because that's the final part of a show, what does Oyetomi Adisa do for fun?
Like, if people see you are serious, you know that you have fun. What do you like? I remember when you told me, they said that time you used to see me as one serious, like I'm too. You saw them, I didn't remember that was one money that year.
And the day I found out, like, this is like a.
What's up? Okay, but you say, I didn't know you were this joke. When you catch it, Kalafa. Yeah, I know. What do I do for fun? Number one, I love movies. I love movies. I'm on a movie fast. Now, it's just that they're watching movie in my presence. God, you know it's not me that puts it. It's not me that puts it. When they are watching it, I'm not to spend time with me. So I'm not come and watch. I watch by myself. I'm not permitted. I love movies. I like to sleep. I like to sleep. Sleep. I like to sleep. I like to travel without the rigor of traveling. Packing the bag, airport to Allah, traveling by road, but waiting. So and then not to hang over. Aya is an amazing hostess. Like she does game nights. I love it.
How many have we come from?
This is the place we're exposing ourselves.
This 40, he was cheap. Yeah, let's go. He go.
But so I love it when people invite me over and say, okay, come for dinner. And then we're not talking serious stuff. It's just games and all of that. And
It's very playful.
yes. I absolutely love that. So those are things I do for fun. So
So if I really want to do something nice for you, what are some of the things that will really make you smile, make you happy? You're 40. Some people are racking their brains. What am I going to get for Asotui for her 40th? So help us out. What would make you feel really special?
sponsor 1,000 children. They are feeding that.
Leave that one. No. That's spiritual matter. I said for you. We know you want to sponsor children. Okay, sponsor the next conference.
I'm telling you, sponsor the next conference on that. Like I'm already looking at, hey, 2,000 children came last year. We fed 2,000 children. This year, when children are coming, only wow.
By the way, for fact, every year for her birthday, that's going her birthday gift. But this year, you're 40. What can somebody do for you?
For me,
You like shoes, you like bags. So one thing she likes travel. So plan a travel for her and not expense being trip.
Yeah.
And don't let her have any stress. Have a good day for her travel. That's one. See,
that's a lady. That one on top of my list. Do you like massages? Oh, I love massages. I love it. I love to go for a complete body massage with hot stones. I totally love it. I love to have a massage. I have a sweet tooth. Try to watch it. So I love that too. Was sponsor the company. If you don't need to scream,
I do.
so you can set house. You see how the kid is stressed. Just saying her that's not bad, but it's not prepared.
Yes.
That she likes.
Oh my
That's
God.
that help you. So because you need to be pampered.
Yes,
So what is
I
to
do.
good and fresh,
I
looking
do.
to
I
take,
do.
comfort,
I
another
do.
for.
and let me say this: God is a God that pampers.
Yes.
Let me share two experience very quickly. One time I was like, my life, I'll just go on and see people having fun. And I'll just like my life, what am I going to do in my life? And one day I went to this Holy Spirit, use me in my life to say, where was that time we went to this? And it just came like a quiet voice. So that weekend, I went out and I went to buy my favorite ice cream. And I felt like the indie girl in the world. I felt on top of the world. And I've forgotten that conversation. I just said, you see, all you needed was a cup of her.
Just like Elijah, all you needed was food. And they were like, oh, Lord.
I was like, my life. Oh, no, bad worry, my friend. And then second thing happened last year, my birthday.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking about my mom. I was just like, why you have that motherly affection that, she would have called me in the money. And my parents do this. My mother-in-law too does. And pray for me. If your mom is can come and pray for me, I don't mind. I do it. So I was like, she would have called my bank and I got moody. And guess what? Someone sent me, Ayo sent me a basket of muffins, cakes, and everything. And she sent it a day before my birthday. And that was I was thinking of my mom and missing her so much. And when the basket came, he was too thoughtful. Guess what? When I called her, she had made arrangements a month before. So God saw her head that at some point I was just going to need that. I'm such a baby inside, honestly.
I probably wanted to see this because sometimes you walk up with okay, she kept everything nice. I'm trying to get her a prayer journal. You know, and get her.
I don't think so much in a prayer donor again. The prayer donors I've received in my life is plenty. Prayer based prayer donor, I don't want, please.
She's a human being. She's flesh. I can testify. So buy her nice things. She's back. Has to go to the spa, to the beach, all you do is pocket. Okay, so let's talk about legacy.
Legacy.
If you look back at 2 questions as we round up, maybe 2. What did you look back at your younger self? Now that you're 40, what would you say to her?
So saying that just made me emotional. I'll have said to my younger self, number one, just be yourself. Stop caring. I was too mindful of people in the rooms I expected you to. I cared more about, but I don't want this person to feel bad. I don't want this person. It's not wrong to care, but I cared so much. So just be yourself. A lot of times I felt like I was too much. So I felt like only you're being cake, you're doing radio show, they made you an executive, and then you again, you want to be doing this. So just be yourself. Some will give 5, some will give 2. Like me, my own is more than 5. This spotted now, have gone rogue in Christ. Anything you see, take it. So just be yourself. Number 2 is you are loved. Because my mom not being present just made me, I kept looking for love. But I'm grateful that I did not really go to the wrong place. I just kept looking for love. I kept seeking validation, especially from older people. You're loved. They're just absolutely loved. Loved. And then number 3 is to my younger self, I would have just embraced my call and yeah, in full. That's yes. Although, God has a way of working. Since it's the one that works in us, go to win and to do. If he wanted me to get to this point, he would have done it. Because at least at one point of it, I was fully surrendered to it. And in that point, it would have even done kind of. So it's just tuning me, it's like a radio frequency. And I'm at the right frequency now. But looking back, I would have, because man, if I had the consciousness, the conviction that I had now, oh gosh, maybe I would not have even married. So
This is that. But before, okay, a few more. To still on this message, when your children turn 14, how would you want to describe and what their childhood experience was like?
I wanted to describe me as a present and very loving mother. Present and very loving mother. I love my children and I want them to know that I love them with the whole of my heart. I wanted to describe me as that mother who prepared them for the future. Who instructed them. I constantly talk to them. When I schooled my children, I tell them that you're great men in bed with me. I still had a meeting with them of the 2 days again before they went to school. And I told them about the circumstances around me, that the things that God told me. Because I want them to always know that they are not be ordinary, that the hand of God had always been on their lives. So the mother that prepared them, and I'm managing, I don't have a fun, loving mother. All the games, the dance, the many naughty things we do, at home, I want them to remember. And I hope I'm that way even when I'm 80,
And so basically, she's okay. How about your work at large? This generation and the next generation, how would you like to be remembered? Many years now, when you're gone, 90, when you're much older, how do you want to be remembered? How would you want the name Oyetomi Adisa? What would you like it to evoke in the minds of people when Zaria is mentioned?
Because I love the word evoke. Because legacy is not just what people say about you. It's about what you leave with people to build their lives. I would want them to remember a woman who served God passionately, served God with a pull of their part. So if at any point the world says that they're too much, my husband just walks in. Oh, this was special. I didn't want it to be here when I asked. And yes,
I go.
yeah, so I want them to remember a very passionate woman. The woman who said but passionately. So at any time the world says that there's too much, they would remember to Adisa and give it their all, give it their best. I want them to remember a woman who served God and did not neglect her family. And that's my main easy. I always tell them family is important. Because eventually when you grow old and no matter how well you do ministry, you come back to family and you don't want to come back to a house or home that is empty or filled with cracks and you start digging the things in your old age. And lastly, I want them to remember a woman who served God and also lived her life. Okay? Love me. A vibrant, colorful life. Okay, she had a husband, her children, her friends. She had this expression, that expression. That's what I want.
Okay. Now, final question. I've been saving this question from Sorina. So have this interview. We consistently mention the role that your husband has played here. Yes, in ministry, the audacious faith that he has, pushing you to be more than himself. I want you to say something to him. This is an opportunity to really appreciate perhaps the greatest influence in your life aside from God. Absolutely. So share with us. What would you like to say?
Let me comment. Keep on. Obafemi, Jeremiah, Antisa, Okomi, Baba Bichi, Lemichi. Thank you. Thank you for coming into my life. Thank you for your fervent commitment to God's mandates for my life, even when I did not see the complete picture. My husband just always sees the bigger picture. And I remember just one time, I don't know about you, you can say it's more than one that I don't really argue with, because he just told me, he said, I'm not a superwoman. Stop telling me I can do all of those things. And he will say, yes, you can. And you can.
That's what we're angry about.
I'm telling you. It was an argument. I was like, I'm not a superwoman. Stop telling me I can do this. And I can't count the number of times that God has shown me that is an integral part of my fulfillment. There was a time God showed me a dream where we were signed in Rainy on a new site, and we're supposed to use one part. That part was small, and I was waiting for proper stage to be set up. And my mama said, this part of the ground that is still high, there's not, they would use it as a stage, and these people will sit here. And I said, I can't get up there. And God up and said, come, bring your hand and hold me up. So God has shown that is a man that is sent to me. He's a vessel prepared for my life, and I don't take that for granted. I know that we're being through a lot. Both of us are amazing, stubborn people. And I see how you continue to yield to the mandate of God. Love me, overlook all my exes. Thank him. My husband is a very private person. Oh, Jesus. Let me tell you, when we just got married for the first 2 years, when people come to the house to see me, I was not one inside. If he needs to drink water, I'll not send me a message, baby, please. I beg you. He's bring me water. Baby, I'm hungry. Can you sneak food? It's that bad. He needs to run from people. But I've rubbed off on him, and now he's grateful that I'm the extrovert, in the marriage. Thank him for all the things you allow. I will litter the house with St. Mother's items. During programs, we'll be packing everything in the living room. You'll be like a stranger in your own house, and you'll be restricted to the bedroom. Thank you for all the many sacrifices. I don't take it for granted. I love you now. I love you forever. In heaven, I'll be your secret girlfriend. I will sneak into your room, sneak into my mansion. No more our mansion. You'll call me when the girls are not looking. I'll come to your own too.
Thank you so much. I think we need to also introduce your husband. Absolutely. To sing your ministry from his own perspective and lens, because there's so many things. So many things.
And he's a better storyteller. He remembers things better than me. That's the truth. He remembers his stories in detail.
As a family, we're coming for you. But thank you so much. I'm sure you'd agree with me that this has been an extraordinary conversation. Like I said, and I wasn't lying. I wasn't trying to flatter you. I could sit here for hours. I'm just glean and just ask questions and go over and over. And whilst we're speaking, I felt like this is a masterclass. There's so many things. How many years have you been in ministry now?
So if I take it from 2020, that's 6 years. Let's say full-time is 6 years, but other than that,
No, it's not 6 years. From university.
yes, from university. That's a lot of time, like 20. God called me very early.
Yeah.
God called me.
Even the time in secondary school, when you're going to different schools and speaking.
No, that was after secondary school.
What else? That's
Yeah,
okay. When you were waiting for admission.
waiting for admission. Yes.
So, and okay, we say post secondary school. Yes, I was understand it. For such a long time and a lot of lessons. Thank you for sharing with us. Happy 40th birthday.
Thank you.
You're looking good for 40. Don't forget all the birthday presents you agreed on. Fill this out with your love. God bless you. Thank you so much. That's
Thank
not so
you. Thank you. I also thank Ayo.
It's okay. It's not myself. Cut.
You cannot become the interviewer. No, cut. And then you say, how do I thank the person? And you now say, no, I also thank. No, this is not fair. No, thank you so much.